On this episode of Athletes Anonymous, we're going to be doing a little bit of prop bets before the games start here today, and we're also going to be talking about a little bit of NBA discussion. Let's get to that intro music. And welcome back to the podcast. I am your co-host, Kieran McKeague, and with me as always are my longtime friends and co-hosts, Nolan Chang, Jared Shirai, and Jalen Holston. Say what's up to the pod, boys.
Hello, everybody.
Look at these clowns.
Aloha, everyone.
Take a look in the mirror, Jared.
Look at these fuckers. Also, Jay, I like the cut. You know,
Thank you.
I was like, nobody gave me compliments earlier. I just wanted to say
She's
that.
like, it's not a cut.
No
I
problem.
just slept on the side of my head.
Some days I could get it like that.
I'm just saying, like, there's been some mornings where Shal will walk out of his room and his hair is just like that. I'm like, how is that possible?
Anyway, I'm going to get to some prop bet stuff. Before these games start, we're just going to have a little bit of fun talking about the NFL stuff because obviously we're not going to be able to talk about the games just yet. For those who don't know, we record these Sunday mornings, so we are kind of pre-playoff games. So we're kind of getting going to have to talk about those on the next pod. But right now I have some over-unders for you guys. You guys are going to give me, obviously, your prediction over-under for these different prop bets. I'm going to start with the Chiefs and the Bengals AFC championship game. The first over-under. Chiefs score first. Swinging it over to you, Nolan.
I'm going to do you one better. It's going to be Chiefs scoring first.
No.
What?
Because there's more stuff.
Okay.
Probably is going to add to what you're going to say.
Gotcha. Chiefs,
Yeah.
let's go.
God, just play the game.
Yeah, I know. Chiefs score first. Over-under.
Over.
All right. Jay, over-under. Chiefs score first.
Given that it's Cincinnati and we get just absolutely shafted in any way possible, no matter what, I'm going to go with the under on that one. I feel like they're just going to win the coin toss, and of course they're going to fucking do some stupid shit.
Opening drive. Yeah.
It's not going to be an easy game, opening drive type stuff, because it's they got something to prove, we got something to prove, so I'm going to go under.
Chiefs score first. Jared.
Under.
All right. And the next one.
You would.
Jamar Chase. 100 receiving yards. Nolan Chang.
100 receiving yards for Jamar Chase. I'm going to go over on that one.
Ooh, wow. I think he's going to have himself a game. Jalen Holston.
Oh, way over. Yeah, it's a game.
Damn.
I'm so
Okay,
because apparently anytime you breathe on that kid, it's pass interference. So he's gonna have 100-yard game.
There it is. That's the
Literally,
real
watch
reason.
all the fucking games that we've played. Maybe 2 calls out of like the 15 that he's gotten were pass interference.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Past 3 times they've matched up, the over-under, or the total box of score for them has been close to 60. So it's got to come from somewhere, and I have no doubt Chase is going to be one of the reasons.
That was, over under. Jared.
I'll go over.
All right. Well, Jamar Chase is going to have himself a game. Next one.
Sure.
Joe Mixon, running back for the Cincinnati Bengals, will have 2 rushing touchdowns. Nolan Chang.
I'm going to go under on that. I'm going to go under on 2. I'm going to go under.
All right. Jay.
I'm gonna go under on that as well. Really good rushing teams have struggled against us this year, so I could see him getting maybe like 1 off the goal line, right? But I don't know about like a big busting one that would be like, from 20, 30 yards out. I don't know about all that, so
It's like opening drive, busted run, 89-yard touchdown.
Jesus Christ.
And then he gets his goal line run. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Jared, over under?
No, I'm going to go under too. I feel like everybody who's tried to run on the Chiefs have been very unsuccessful. So I feel like it's going to be a Joe Burrow game where we're going to be slanging. So
Great point. Fantastic rushing defense. We're going to the next one. Travis Kelce will be the first Chief to score. Nolan Chang. That's why I said.
That's where I was going.
Where you were going.
That's where I was going. I'm
going
gonna go over. I'm gonna go over. He's gonna be the first one.
Jalen Holston.
How Nicole's back this week, so I don't know. Could be a big bomb, or it could be a little cute, Andy Reid and his goal line plays. I'll take the over, though. I think that's not a far left field prediction there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Jared, you're right.
I'll just go with the under. I'm going to be the devil's
You that
advocate
guy.
here.
Yeah, I got you.
But I feel like I feel like it could be Kelsey, but at the same time, I feel like Jay said it could be just a breakout play where you hit him in a slat and then somebody's gone. So
Yep, Cole Hardman, deep threat right there. The next one we have is Joe Burrows will throw 2 interceptions in this game. Nolan Chang.
I'm gonna go under. I trust the Chiefs defense, but not the coverage defense that much. But
No, not at all.
I'm gonna go under.
All right, Jay Holston.
Phenomenally under. Joe Burrow only plays phenomenally well against us, so it's just not going to happen. I think in the 3 matchups, he's thrown 1 interception to 5 TDs. Patrick Scott, I think 9-3 is the ratio or something like that. Or maybe that's the records. I don't know.
That's exactly right.
We just both QBs step it up because it's it should be the Super Bowl, but it's not. So there it is.
You had a fantastic QBR rating all year. So sending it over to you, Jared.
Well, the question was at least 2, right? So 2 or more.
2 or more. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to take
I'd be
the over.
shocked.
I'm actually going to take the over.
You think he's going to throw like 3?
No, I think he's going to take 2. I think he's going to
okay. Yeah.
I really think he's going to go through. I think Chiefs will step it up on defense. Like Jalen said, I would say it as a coach, and I think they'll agree. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a row, 4 times, or when you play teams multiple times. Mm-hmm. And I do think that there's going to be some point where the Chiefs put enough pressure on the front line where it's going to cause him to make a bad decision. And then with the reads, I'm guessing that a corner is going to jump around and pick somebody too. So that's where my 2 is coming from.
That is a fantastic analysis, Jared.
Combined scores, by the way, 3-6-9. We have lost by 3 points in all of those matchups. All of them could have been us. All of them could have been them, obviously, as it has been. Like, these are not gimme games for either team. So
Gimme.
You damn right. All right, the final over-under for the Cincy KC game will be cumulative score will be 50 points over-under.
Oh, way over.
Oh, yeah?
Hell yeah.
All right. Going over to you, Jay. Do you think it's going to be a defensive slanging kind of matchup?
No. We're going to be throwing the ball at least 60 times with Pat. It doesn't matter about his ankle. Like that's just what it is, even though I wish they wouldn't because we have the most phenomenal backfield we've had in years with McKinnon and Pacheco. It should honestly, if we want to win this game, I would play some Tom Brady possession football and just milk that clock all the way down, let Pacheco run with the fullback and just absolutely decimate their front row that way. But hey, it's Andy Reid. He sticks to his guns. He wants to throw the ball. It is what it is. But yeah, no, we're slinging the football. It's gonna be way over.
Jared.
No, I'm gonna go over. I feel like this is gonna be a very high scoring game. So
yep. That's it's looking like it definitely will be. But yeah, like we said, this will be the Super Bowl matchup for sure. Swinging it over to the Philly-San Francisco game. Our first prop bet is that San Francisco will score first. Nolan Chang.
Over.
Brock Purdy might do it. All right. I'm not going to say. Yeah, I was like, sorry. Yeah, it was like throwing out other prop bets. Jalen Holston. San Fran.
I'm going to go under. The Eagles' offense right now has too many things for a first drive to not score first. But I do think the 49ers will win the game because once they make some adjustments and actually see the things the Eagles are doing. Again, the Eagles have not played a real football team literally all season at all. They will be exposed as frauds, just like I said the Bills would be. And, yeah, love you, Jalen Hurts. But, yeah, this is real football now. I'm sorry.
For all our sakes, let's hope that the Niners pull this one out. Swing it over to you, Jared. San Fran Sports first.
I'm going to take the under. I'm right there with Jay. As good as San Francisco's defense is, Philadelphia's offense has been good enough to get them down the field, at least get a field goal out of it. So,
great point. Swinging it over to you, Nolan. We got Brock Purdy rushes for a touchdown today.
I'm going to go under. but it would be beautiful to see.
I mean, he's done it. So, I mean, you know, maybe it's a QB sneak. We don't know. Jalen Holston.
Maybe over. I think Kyle Shanahan is kind of putting the deck all in on Brock Purdy, as you kind of have to at this point. They're not even talking about Trey Lance coming back at this point. It's kind of a phenomenal story if this keeps going. Like, he's got all the things that the Shanahans like in a QB. I think he's got way more upside, obviously being in the last pick of the draft. And ironically, this is a fun fact for you all. The last time that these two teams met, he threw like 6 total TDs, or had 6 total touchdowns. He had 5 in the air, 5 rushing against Jalen Hurts when he was in Oklahoma. So like it was a close game back then. Yeah. So I'm just saying it might be a little bit of a banger. You know what I'm saying?
It might be. Swing it over to you, Jared. Brock Purdy rushing for a touchdown.
I'm going to go with Superman. He's going in the end zone, so I'm going over.
The Cinderella story lives on. Swing it over to you, Nolan. Jalen Hurts will have, whether it's by his legs or throwing, 3 touchdowns to his name.
Or over.
I'll
give him that. Yeah.
I'm going to give you another one.
Do it.
Is you have more rushing or more throwing? It's like, this is harder than the initial one.
It's like, I got the first answer great.
Yeah.
I'm going to predict that his offense is going to be struggling, and so he's going to take matters into his own hands. When he's on that red zone line, he's going to go for it. I think it's 2-1. Rush, passing.
That's a solid prediction. Swing it over to you, Jay. Jay Hurts will have 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, over. I mean, it's going to be a 3-score game, I think. I think this one's probably going to come down to probably a field goal or 2 from either team. But there definitely is going to be 3 scores by
Watch
Jalen
both
Hurts.
games be like 10-7. Like,
I mean, that would be wild, and I'm here for it. But yeah, I think Jalen Hurts getting 3 tutties is going to be definitely a thing. I will say if it was Justin Fields, I'd say he'd have more rushing than throwing. But I think with Jalen, it's going to be maybe 2 in the air, 1 on the ground type deal.
Yeah, props to Jalen Hurts. At least he's tried to throw more this year than he did, previous years. Swing it over to you, Jared. 3 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts.
I'm going to go under. I have faith in the San Francisco defense.
Ooh, there it is.
One of the best defenses in the league. I'm just going to say, I think the under. I think the under.
I gotta give you props. You've been rock solid with all of your people all the way through every pod.
It's going to be crazy when they lose to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. It's going to be
crazy when Christian McCaffrey just goes off against the Chiefs like he's done against every team.
Shots.
What was that?
Shots for everyone.
What was that, Jay?
Shots for everyone.
All of us do it.
That's going to be a gif,
That's
everybody.
going on the Instagram.
That's going to be. How was that, Cody? Clip that.
Anyway, Nolan, going over to you. The Niners will get a defensive touchdown today.
Oh, damn!
Bold prediction.
That's a bold prediction. That's one of those bets you could drop $5 on and win like 600 just based off of like a random incident happening. Right? Vegas always wins. You know what? Let's be a gambling man today. I'm gonna go over. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
We have pick 6 or a fumble. Let's see. Jalen Holston. Will the Niners get a defensive touchdown?
They're not really a scoring defense in any phase. But I don't know, man. I feel like it could happen because once Jalen gets shooketh from playing an actual team, there could be some interesting things happening. I'll go over. I'll go over too.
My man.
I can see that.
All right, Jared, you going to play devil's advocate for this one?
Of course he is.
I'm feeling a pick
pod.
6.
Come on.
I'm going to agree with Jalen. Oh, no, I'm going to agree with Jalen just based on the fact of when Jalen Hurts gets shook, he's going to make a bad, just one bad read, and somebody's going to just
So
pick
when
it
you
off
say
and
when
take it.
Jalen Hurts?
Wow.
All right, we're just gonna skip
gonna-
Nolan for the next prop bet. AJ Brown, AJ Brown getting 100 receiving yards today.
Who?
AJ Brown.
AJ
Okay. Come on. Come on.
100? No. I'm going to say under.
Jalen Holston.
Under.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm going to say under. I'm going to say under.
I was going to say, I'm going to stick with my guns where he's going to get frustrated with his offense and Jalen's just going to try to run it more than he's actually going to be able to connect with his
It's like his
receivers.
offense gets frustrated with him. He gets swapped out for like, what's his name?
What's his name?
We don't even know his name. His backup is Minshew, right?
Oh,
Gardner Minshew. Yeah. Anyway, CMC will have one rushing TD and one receiving TD. Nolan Chang.
The way they've been using him this season, I'm going to go over on that.
Ooh, right on. Jalen Holston. Sorry. No, continue.
I was going to say, I don't know if I mentioned it full-heartedly on the pod, but I think because they got CMC, they have been dangerously underutilizing Deebo Samuels.
Yeah, you're right.
Ayuk has more, I think, for a good portion of the season, had more receiving and targets than Deebo did. So CMC does not help his case either. So I think CMC is going to have the 1-1.
Fantastic point. So get over to you, Jay.
Definitely over on that one. Yeah, it's gonna. I mean, since he's gotten there, all of a sudden Brock Purdy can be your quarterback, right? And you can be a little bit more dynamic and explosive, and it protects the young guy in there for a rookie last pick of the draft. You have a safety net with Deebo Samuels, and then you have Christian McCaffrey, and then you have George Kittle. Like, if you have those three pieces around a young guy, there's not a lot of room for error, really, because one of those things will go well in the game, more than likely. So, yeah.
Fantastic point. Jared.
I'm going to take the over. McCaffrey's
like,
doing it for
like,
me, man. Well, at the same time, too, like to defend it,
From
like
fantasy.
like Jay brought it up with that many weapons and the way McCaffrey can do so many different things. This is where I agree that this is where Brock Purdy gets his touchdown, because they're going to spread him out like that, and then he's going to see a nice draw 2 yards out and just take an easy run in or something.
I don't know if this is on your list. Over under Christian McCaffrey passing touchdown.
It's funny because originally I had it one rush, one receiving, one throwing, but I took out the throwing because I was like, that I feel like the one throwing is gonna.
I'll still take the over on that. Honestly, like, it's the playoffs; they might whip something out. It's Kyle Shanahan too, man. Like, they try to throw Andy Reid. You know what I mean? Like, it's.
Could you imagine what the winning would be if you predict that CMC throws a touchdown to Brock Purdy today?
Dear God!
Oh my God! Could you imagine how much that prop bet would be? That'd be crazy.
San Francisco would riot.
Wait for the Super Bowl. Wait for the Super Bowl. Everybody can do it in the Super Bowl.
I'm just saying,
right?
Philly
I
special.
can't believe, Jalen is going to be
special.
so
You gotta
mad
have it
when
in
he
the
does
Super
that
Bowl,
to
I'm
the
telling you.
Chiefs, right?
Anyway,
Listen here,
The
bud.
Bengals won't know what happened.
yeah. In case you haven't been listening to the pod, obviously last week we made our predictions. So Nolan Chang and Jalen Holston both predicting that the Chiefs and the Niners will make it to the Super Bowl, and myself and Jared predicting that the Bengals and the Niners will be making it to the Super Bowl. Nobody chose the Eagles, but we all had different winners. I forgot who picked who to win. I know I picked the Bengals. Jared picked
It was
the
two
Niners.
Bengals, two Chiefs. Oh, no, Bengals, Niners, Chiefs. Two Chiefs.
Gotcha.
Two
So
Chiefs.
you guys both picked Chiefs. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, so today will be an interesting day. I'm just going to be sitting there with my bottle. Like, hopefully I don't have to shotgun one of these next week. That is the bet. So anyway, I'm going to swing it over to the NBA conversation. Excited to watch these games. Excited to see what happens. But I have a little bit of a discussion piece for all of you folks because
I hope so. I hope
There
it's
are
the
a
one
couple-
I'm thinking.
yeah, well, there's that. I'm gonna lead into that, but there are a couple different things because there's been a lot of disputes over contracts and all this other sort of stuff that's been happening in the league. So, Jay, I'm gonna start off with you. Are you with the idea of paying top dollar for potential? Because that seems to be what the NBA does nowadays. Rookie max extensions have become a thing. They've definitely incentivized potential. So I'm just gonna. Are you with the idea of just paying for potential as opposed to paying for production? Jay. Jay.
Me.
Yeah,
Okay.
I said
Okay.
Jay.
Okay.
Yeah.
There
You're
are
Jay.
two J's
He's
in the
Jay
J.
Boogie. He's
Jay
Jay Boogie. Yeah.
I was waiting
listen,
for you, Jalen.
Jalen, Jared,
like,
Jolan, Gioni, you know.
On top of that, I will also say, does this set like a weird precedent as a coach who's, at the youth level? Does this set a weird precedent for coaching as far as,
Yes.
kids incentivizing name branding? Because is this like, do you see that as a more of a positive or negative thing? Because now it's you pay for their persona. You know what I'm saying? You're not just.
I have said this ever since the NIL deals started happening and they started paying these college kids, which is what I said would happen. We are now going to be going into an era where you haven't earned anything and haven't for your accomplishments, but you're going to get what you think is your worth and whatnot, which is fine. I do think it is going to create a super toxic environment for organizations that are trying to better their teams. And I think it's going to be super toxic for coaches to try to have their heads wrapped around how to coach these kids that walk in with these big egos because they signed a deal with Nike when they were 18 in high school. And I was always on the other side of the paying the college players argument. I understand that the system around it was incredibly scuffed. You can't, I'm not going to dispute that, but there is no rationale you can give me that these kids need to have NIL deals, getting millions and millions at that age. You're not even going to be able to see the money until you graduate anyway. So why are we doing it? That's what the NIL is structured with. They're signed on, but they can't receive said money until they're no longer amateur status. So what is the point? Why are we doing this? And at the end of the day, all it's doing is creating big egos and making it harder for coaches to coach and making it harder for organizations in the NBA to guarantee these kids money when they haven't played in the NBA yet. That doesn't make any sense. You don't get a bonus at your job if you haven't even started on day one, right? That's the literal comparison. So I don't like it. I think it's terrible. And I think, it's spawning out of this era that we're into with this new paying basically high school kids to go to college and all that kind of stuff. I still think that they need to have guaranteed scholarships and healthcare, which is still not a thing, even with the NIL deal. So I'm not sure how that got missed because of the D1 level. You tear your ACL, a coach could cut you and then you can't go to school. So that's still a thing. But they were like, hey, we can still get sponsored by Nike, so I'm going to be all right. I don't think that's how that works, friend. When you can't do the thing that you were promised to do for Nike, they're going to also leave. So again, I think the NIL stuff went the completely wrong direction. Instead of guaranteeing them healthcare, education, and give them a little stipend so they can go get some food every once in a while. You know what I mean?
Diem. It's not
per diem.
It's not rocket science.
It's not hard. It's not hard. They don't need millions of dollars. They need to be able to eat whenever they're not in class. It is a very straightforward.
No money.
And that too, we all lived it. So that's why I've always been on the other side. We literally did this. It comes down to kids not understanding responsibility and how to be able to function when you get to that high level of playing at sports. If I wasn't a person that went through college athletics, granted it was at a slightly lower level, but still the structure and the practices were all the same. We still had morning workouts. We still had to go to practice. We still had to lift. We still had to go to class. We still had to road travel for games. We still had to figure out when to eat and when to move and all that other stuff. And the reality is, you give a kid $1,200 in stipend, he's spending $900 of it on fucking parties and beer money. That's what's going to happen. It's gonna that's just is what it is, and you can't prove me otherwise.
We were in Bible study when that stuff happened. I don't know what you're talking about.
Crazy.
I bought Gatorade.
That was me and Lamar. Sorry, we went the other way.
And Nolan bought French bread.
French bread, toast that.
But yeah, especially when it comes to professional organizations trying to guarantee rookies money, I think that's stupid. They have not played a minute in the NBA, and you're saying that these agents are asking for guaranteed $1 million deals for rookies. Come on now, that ain't how that works.
But you paid Bronny James.
Hey,
Bronny James is going to get a contract because of his last name. Yeah. That's just going to happen.
No, that's
the
just
FaZe Clan contract was already a big money contract, right? He got a lot of money from FaZe once he joined. So,
they had to lock that up early.
Yeah, there's stuff like that that's just insane to me. But
did he get money from that?
From the FaZe Clan deal?
I am not doubting it.
I don't know if you guys
Case can play out.
I don't know if he received it yet, but he did get money from it.
He
Gotcha.
probably has the contract
Yeah,
when he turns 18
It's
to
I was
pay
gonna
out
say,
kind of
it's
thing.
probably
You know
one
what I
of those
mean?
they paid it to his dad, like his dad needs money. Anyway.
I know.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm gonna swing it over to you, Jared, because obviously I know all of you guys are coaches, and that is part of the conversation. But I'm gonna talk to you a little bit more, sure, towards the NBA conversation as far as what makes a max level talent in your eyes, and how many players in the league do you consider to be actual max level talents?
0. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's like one
I was
hand.
like,
Really.
nobody will ever get. I was like,
Nobody gets paid out. Come on,
No.
man.
Right.
I was like,
No, that's a loaded question. Gosh.
that it
I mean,
is.
I would say I don't know about 5, Jay. Maybe I'll put it on 2 hands that you're. Oh wait,
Just to do
sorry.
this.
I know.
Max deals,
Wait,
though? Come
wait,
on.
max-
There's
max-
at
wait, max
least 5
deals?
max deals.
Max Dios as a
At least
rookie
5.
or Max Dios as just an NBA player in general?
Well,
Oh,
whatever
yeah.
player
Depending on their
you
draft
think-
pick or when they get picked, it depends also what contract they're going to be getting. Obviously,
Yeah,
top
that's
10
why.
lottery picks are
Whatever
going to get a higher
players
contract
how
guarantee.
many ever players you think deserve
How
the
many
max level
players?
that they
Dude, I
can?
wish you would have like pretexted me what during Jalen's one because now I'm counting in my head. Now I'm gonna make the pod wait for this.
This is
you know?
exactly why I wanted to kind of spring these on you. Get your actual
Like,
thoughts on it.
I'm gonna say there are. At least, in my opinion, 7 players. At least 7 players that are well worth that max deal because
And this
of
is
what
ju-
they bring to
players in general or
players
rookie?
in general. Players in
Okay,
general.
gotcha,
Players
okay.
in general. I'm not
Players
gonna.
in general,
I'm not going to
yeah.
go through the rookie thing.
No, of
because,
course, yeah, no
I
problem.
mean, that's actually the other question. That's why I texted.
Because I was like, I think that ties
I was
into
like,
what Jay
that
was
ties
saying.
more
like,
into the rookie side of what
Yeah.
makes a max deal player. The 7 that I like, I'm not even going to name all 7, but like just off the top of my head, I know I would take Giannis. I'd take probably
Luka,
Luka.
Giannis, Bron.
I would take Steph. I'd take probably LeBron. You know what I mean? He's still one of the best in the game. You know what I mean? And then it kind of
Levine.
trickles from there. I like a Joel Embiid, but we said like he's like bubble for me because we talked about it last time. Like if you could trade Joel Embiid for somebody, would you trade him? And you probably would, you know. But what he does for his team and how important he is, that's where I think he deserves that max level because we've seen what the Sixers look like without him, and they are not a basketball team. And then you see with him, and they are just phenomenal
They're
to get
just
to
not
bring
a
him there.
basketball
You know,
team now.
I mean, it's not. I mean, when he was out, they literally had nobody. I mean,
That's fair.
we saw it last year in the playoffs, right? Or like the playoff run that they had, and that's literally what it came down to. So for me, it's like that. I know I didn't name all 7, but that's like basically my 5, right?
Do you think that the NBA's kind of outlook on what a max level player, like I mean, through the players and the associations, do you think that hamstrings teams more often than it should, as far as like teams having big contracts that they just
I mean,
shouldn't have
I'm
on
going to
their-
be totally honest about it. Like the Rudy Gobert trade, like the things that people ask for in that
It's like
trade.
you-
He is
like you're reading my
He is
notes.
a great defensive player. Great defensive player. Don't get me wrong, but is he worth all that pieces? Look at what you have to give up for somebody now because you gave him that. Everybody's going to compare to him.
that was
you know?
that was ridiculous, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Little things like that. So for me, like I do think it does affect teams in a lot of different ways. It really handcuffs them when they don't have the resources that they can give out like that. I.e. the Lakers, you know, we only have 2 draft picks, right?
Yeah,
We're
but
not-
somehow
we're
they're
not-
still
but-
making-
somehow we're gonna make it happen. No.
Yeah.
But to swing back around to the topic at hand, what makes a max player? I mean, you just got to be that value. That value. I mean, look at Luka. Nobody really knew what to expect from this 16-year. Like this kid has been playing overseas since he was 16. That's the whole reason why Dallas traded him for Trey. Right. And that was the biggest thing. And then look at what he's doing. I think Luka deserves it because of how
Could
valuable
you
he is.
imagine?
He does.
That
Yeah.
they stayed where they were.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
completely different
So,
situations.
so a player for me, like Luka's he's only been in the league for so many years. What he's done for his team, the value of his team, the way he's not just a one-dimensional player. He's a great teammate. Everybody loves him. He works his ass off, but he knows how to have fun with his team and build rapport. I mean, he bought them scooters for Christmas. They were riding around the damn arena. It was actually kind of funny to watch the video. But I mean, when it
It's
comes
crazy
to
how
it,
young these guys are. Like when you really
yeah,
break it
they're
down.
so
because
young. And
of,
it's like, oh my god, I got a scooter. Let's
back,
go.
I know. Back in the day, it was like you're buying like cigars and Rolexes. Now it's like you can buy them in Xbox or
buy rollerblades. Let's go.
yeah,
around
like
the
it's
arena.
literally like
What were we
Something-
doing
something
back
super
then?
small.
We were making chili together, playing video games till 5 in the morning.
damn
Facts,
right.
facts.
True.
Yeah,
I don't
those,
do that anymore.
those zombies nights were like.
Dude, those zombies nights were
See one of us running into a wall, like,
Yeah,
"Yo, you
just
good?
like-
I'm up, I'm awake, man, I'm awake."
Jared. Oh, shoot. It's like, what round are we on?
Jared's dead.
I fell off the building. My bad.
Yeah.
No. But yeah. I was waiting for it. No, but yeah, I mean that's kind of what for me makes that Max Deal contract. You know, the prospect or like the hope that these kids are gonna grow into it. Like after a while, it has to be Luka shown why he really deserves it. You know, people like I think Trae Young's kind of getting up there to show how valuable he is to a team. But I don't think he's deserving of it. He still has like so many. I mean, everybody talks about Luka's defense, but Luka brings so much more.
Yeah.
There are so many players in the NBA that have max deals and they're not playing defense. You know,
Yeah.
like a player like James Harden. But
There it is.
My boy said it.
I mean,
And
I
he
said
meant
it.
it.
There's so many different scenarios that happen. It's like
Hey, James Harden plays defense. You see him come off the bench a couple nights ago. Or was it last night?
okay,
Where they forgot they had
Does
4
he have a
players
max
on the
deal
court.
though right now?
And he jumps off the court and the guy accidentally throws the ball off his head.
No, my best one is like the one that he's like, oh, it's okay. I lost the ball at half court. You can have the free dunk. And his
he
whole
just-
team's trying to run back, and he's just standing there turning
Yeah.
around.
Talk about like a no effort type of play.
Yeah. So,
Um,
in my opinion, that's where I kind of stand with that. Whole
Nolan, I'm gonna swing this one over to you. So, how much do you think WNBA players should be making? No, I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Like,
Well, Keaton, I'm glad you asked. I think that.
no, I'm just joking.
That's just me.
As we trend towards like the trade market being the new free agency market, and obviously we've seen in the last few years a lot of guys aren't even making it to free agency in order to be eligible for teams to sign them and all that kind of stuff. They're receiving longer term contracts, max money, more players signing rookie max extensions in the last 10 years than ever before. Do you think that the player league idea has inflated contracts? Do you think that because players have so much control over their contracts that they're kind of dictating where the market is moving towards?
I think it's more of front offices being more scared of the non-production or efficiency of a player, given that they are in negotiation kind of like period of their career or their contract. And if they know that they're going to be able to walk at the end of the season, you do see it as like, oh, now because he hasn't signed anything or they haven't had these discussions, Miles Turner is now upset with the team and he doesn't want to return. And you know, all these things kind of float around. And I think the front offices are being very reactionary with it. Obviously, the players' kind of union association does make sense because all in all, you do want to protect the people that are bringing in profit for each business and each franchise. But it does get inflated. And I think that it's very weighted because you didn't hear about this like 10 years ago, right? You know, there's some players here and there that you would randomly hear, oh, he signed an extension, well-deserved, good job. But now it's because you want to strike while the iron's hot, but at the same time, they don't want to look at it in hindsight saying like, we could have extended Luka this during the middle of the season, but we didn't, and now he wants to go look somewhere else for a team that's going to help him win.
I'm going to add a follow-up question to this. Do you think that players are being overvalued now? Because
Oh, definitely.
okay. I was like, I guess I don't have to add to that.
I think Jared touched on it. It's very scoring, no defense. You know, you're not going to make ESPN top 10 by getting a steal, and I think a lot of players know that. And I'm not saying that they're just looking for the highlight reels, but you do get to this point in the NBA where it is all kind of like who can score better than the other person, not as so much like who can I score on. And I think that's one of the reasons why everything gets inflated, because we're looking at potential for a player, and you don't want to be the guy or the front office looking at it like, oh, yeah, I knew he was going to take off and I just didn't strike on it. And it's you just don't want to be like the one with your hands in your pockets, like, oh, oops, my bad, guys, because then it looks worse on your franchise, looks worse on you as a front office. So I do think it is definitely an overvalued time in the NBA, and unfortunately, I don't see it reverting back to the way it was, because now everyone has a taste of what this new kind of NBA is like.
As they're getting towards the time of renegotiating these contracts, as far as the NBPA and then the NBA, do you think that there's like a compromise that can come to where organizations have a little bit more? Because I'll say this, you got the NFL, right? That's like one extreme example where I feel like the NFL teams have way more sway over their players than like in the NBA, whereas in the NBA, the players have way more sway over their teams. So I'm curious if you think that there's like a compromise they can get to for the NBA, or you think we're just going to be trending towards let's pay for the name as opposed to paying for, the actual production.
I don't think anything will be done in a room. It's going to have to be another lockout if that's what's going to be, where they're going to one side's going to look for something specifically, and it's always going to be the player side that's going to want something egregious in most cases, and the teams are going to be the ones that are like, nah, we're not going to do that, and then the lockout happens, and we've had 2 in the past 15 years.
Yep.
So I don't doubt that happening anytime soon in the foreseeable future, but it's really going to be dependent on them. I don't know what more these players want. They're getting so much more money. The cap room has.
I think LeBron had even mentioned something like that. Oh, like certain players should get like stakes in the team. I'm like, you're getting 1% even. If you're getting stakes in the team,
then you are not going to be able to be traded. You're required to sign with you for the rest of your career. That's how
you should be required to hit 30, 10, and 10 for the rest of your career.
If you can't, you lose your shares.
Yeah.
That would be ridiculous. Because LeBron could do that.
Yeah, I mean,
he could.
If the contract was
Westbrook,
there, those are the types of guys, like I said, that you pay the max money. I mean, maybe not Russ Westbrook. You threw that one in there last second there. You tried to sneak that
Russ,
in.
you're going to have shares in our laundry
we all know
department.
Westbrook if he wants.
That's about as much as you're worth, big guy.
Russ will definitely take the triple-double over a team victory.
Yeah, for sure. Long story short, I'm going to keep it profesh on the pod, because there is somebody that I know watches the pod apparently and thinks that he seems to know a thing or two about the Chicago Bulls. But we're talking about the Chicago Bulls as a team, and I feel like this conversation we just had is exactly why. Well, why we're all friends. There's that. This is we're all very similar in our train of thought. But 2, I do think that it goes a long way in helping the fact that we think about these players the same way we would have thought about ourselves as players. Like there's like the side where you do want them to get paid, but there's also the side where you have to be realistic about what you're getting. Like obviously you shouldn't be making millions of dollars to be mid. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to Chicago Bulls, I think that there are so many people, and there's a lot of guys, including somebody whose name like I said, I'm going to keep it professional. Not going to mention your name on this pod.
I will.
Deserve. Shout out Elite 11. Anyway.
And that's getting cut in post.
So no, it's not. Anyway, so this guy, his big thing seems to be one of those guys who just kind of stirs up trouble in the community amongst the Bulls fans. But on top of that, he's really pushing for the idea that you need to have a guy like DeMar DeRozan, who he considers to be the number one, as far as a number one. And I'm going to say this right now, number ones should not be handed out so lightly, because I do think a number one guy is a guy that can literally take your team to that finals. We've seen it with guys like Jimmy Butler. We've seen it with guys like Giannis. We've seen it with guys. There's so many, or there aren't so many, excuse me. There are a handful of guys in the league that I consider to be number ones. Every single team that has won the championship in the last 50 years of NBA basketball has had that guy, whether it be Steph Curry, whether it be LeBron, whether it be Kevin Durant, whether it be so many different names throughout the league history. But we do not have that guy. But this guy seems to think that DeMar DeRozan is the answer. Let's be realistic here. He's not. He hasn't been. He never was, even at his peak. He had a fantastic year last year, which I agree with. I love DeMar DeRozan. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a great player. But at the end of the day, it's about team fit. It's about who he has around him. It's about the pieces. They have to mesh. You know what I'm saying? You cannot have a team of just different or similar personalities or similar play styles and make them work, because it doesn't work that way. We have two guys who are very similar in Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. So many people are divisive over whether or not we should keep LaVine or keep DeRozan, because obviously the Bulls are on sort of a weird where they beat all the good teams and then they lose the crap teams, and then we're like, I don't even know where we are in the record standings. I know right now I think we're bidding for the play-in tournament, so which is just ridiculous to me with the amount of talent that we have on this team. So obviously the trade deadline's coming. They're talking about who's going to get traded. You look at the team with DeMar DeRozan, I love the guy, but he is a ball stopper. He doesn't keep the ball moving. A lot of the guys lose rhythm throughout the game. If you look, you watch, he doesn't make passes. He's like hitting isolation. That's great for his numbers. You know, he looks like he's scoring 30 points a game or whatever it might be, but it does nothing for the team, because you look at guys who fall by the wayside like Nikola Vucevic, who's one of the tops, or who's our top center for our team. You look at guys like Zach LaVine, who even has to take a little bit of a dip in his scoring. You take a look at other guys on the team like Pat Will, Ayo Dosunmu, all the young cats. Those guys don't get to eat because most of the time they're just standing in the corner waiting for DeMar DeRozan to chuck up a mid-range shot. To me, you don't build around that guy. His age is another added factor to this. But on top of that, this guy who seems to think that he knows, Shaitan Elite 11, knows so much about basketball, really truly believes that this team needs to just just blow it up completely. And for me, I feel like if you've been here watching the Bulls, you know that this is a team that can contend. They are just pieces. You know what I mean? There are pieces that need to be moved in order to make them that team. I would say fully healthy, Lonzo Ball on this team, they're a top 5 team in the East. It's just we just need that. You know what I mean? Like we're one big piece away from being a top 3 team. You know what I mean? And it's just, I think that it's crazy because I know Jay's with me on this as a Bulls fan. I'm a Bulls fan for a very long time. We've been through so much since the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all been downhill. We've been in the trenches. There's been a lot of crap. We missed out on every damn big free agent. The big 3 all decided to go to somewhere else.
Since the 90s?
Yeah, exactly.
Really, since D Rose, I mean, it's just been.
Yeah,
I think he gave us a glimmer of hope, and then it was all taken away. It was, good God, man!
I said it was like this. It's almost depressing because I would almost rather us be like the Orlando Magic. There's no hope for that team. You know, I'm like, wow.
Sorry, man.
Jonathan Isaac just came back.
Whereas the Bulls have been right there this entire time, but just can't seem to get over that last little hump in order to be successful. And it's hard to watch, but it's even harder to listen to fans that are not only toxic, but they also just don't know what they're talking about. Like, I don't understand the concept of trying to build around an older player, and on top of that, maybe just wiping the slate clean with all the guys. Like, they want the coach gone, they want the GMs gone, they want all our top guys gone. Like, I'm like, what is the idea here? You get rid of, you know what I'm saying? You don't get rid of everybody in one fell swoop, because there has to be something, some kind of structure to then, build around. But if you get rid of everything and you're starting completely from scratch, like, our GM is 4 years into our team, so our organization. So,
unless we're like 0-75, right? Like, then maybe You know what I'm saying? Like if you have a
Exactly.
god awful year, that's when
Yeah.
maybe we press the nuke button and we say, all right, everybody out,
Yep.
somebody else in. But we're
Exactly.
like an okay team. We just like you said, we
We're
literally
an
just
okay
need one guy. We need a guy. And DeMar DeRozan is a guy, but he's not the guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he is literally just a dude. You know what I'm saying? Levine also, he's kind of a little bit more than a dude, but not really. Like he's just kind of like he's like a bro. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
there's a dude, and then
She's a
he's
dude.
a bro.
We're all
Lonzo though is a guy. Like that is that guy. Like Lonzo could be that guy for us if we
Yep.
kind of gave him some people to facilitate to.
just get in there.
However, still kind of hurt a lot. So it's just one of those things. Bad luck all around. But
Yeah, bad luck,
I
Chicago
don't know.
Bulls.
Also, you don't build teams around 33-year-olds. That'd be like somebody building a team around LeBron right
come
now.
on,
That's just fucking stupid. That's,
come on.
come on.
Yeah, so anyway, like I said, open invitation if this guy ever wants to join us on this pod. I don't think he'll
We
ever
would
accept
love
it.
to have you and discuss
Yeah, we would love.
cordially your Bulls.
Nope, no cordialness to happen here.
Jesus.
Just like, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean,
It's gonna be a
obviously,
SmackDown.
this is an open discussion, but I do think that it does there does need to be this kind of gentlemanliness that we're presenting here, where it's like obviously like you want to have these conversations. There's no need for digging at the personal stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I felt like it went from basketball to like podcast sucks, and it's just like, come on, dude. Like,
But you listen.
yeah, I was like, jokes on you.
But you listen, bitch.
I was like,
And you
jokes
want to
on
listen
you.
to this one.
There's a number on my side. I was like, that's adding. Anyway, I think that'll
But
do it
who's
for the
really
conversation. Yeah, exactly.
We're about
Like,
to get so
we
many
are, yeah.
retweets.
But yeah, I'm thankful for that. We got to have this conversation. I think that was a fantastic discussion piece for the NBA. Looking forward to seeing what the results are for those prop bets for the NFL as well. But I'm going to throw it over to you, Nolan, first. Where can the people find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch at NolanKYT, NOLANKYT.
Raja, Jalen Holston, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Jalen Holston. I'll be probably tweeting about this damn Bengals Chiefs game that's going to happen today all afternoon. Don't want to miss those
gonna be
spicy
great.
tweets.
No.
You can find me on Instagram at ArtByJalen. You can find me on Twitch at MochaThanos_LGG, where I might stream some Elden Ring pretty soon because I'm getting close to the end of the game. So, yeah.
And you are
Boy.
struggling.
I am on Margot and I got bodied.
Jay Shirai, where can the people find you?
On Instagram and Twitch at JShirai. Come check me out. I finally got my affiliate. At
Yeah,
Twitter at JShirai 808. Drop a prime if you got it. Yeah, thanks.
Wow,
Yeah.
Man,
Donuts.
this
All
guy,
of
yeah.
Exactly.
And for Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch, you can find me at KONee. That's KAYOHKNEE. As always, it has been a pleasure. It has been a joy. From all of us here at Poi N Soy,
Good vibes and
Bang,
love, everybody. Dang, wow, Keone.
Okay.
Bulls are trash.